One of the first things that I always do, either for myself or for clients, is sketch whenever I'm discussing a new project. Sketching is how you can get ideas fleshed out, and they're very important to show to your client. Now here's a pro tip for those of you who are thinking about becoming a designer and maybe not have yet taken that venture into doing so. Don't give a client 1,000 sketches. Do not do it. I have a friend of mine who gave a client 30 sketches one time. 30 sketches means 30 different things for that client to look at, which means they're never going to make up their mind. Typically, my rule of thumb is 3 to 5 sketches. The client will then have less to look at and also has a better chance of making a good choice because the client can say, I really like A and B, I don't like the third one, but I kind of like the way you have the logo or the font in E. So they'll give a combination. So give me the text that's in E and put it with the artwork that's in A. And then you could do another sketch and then you can get to work. So if you give them too many sketches, you're going to make yourself pretty miserable. Okay. Here are 3 sketches, and you're going to find these, by the way, in the Work Files folder, in a folder called Mech Logo. As you can see here, I've done 3 sketches, and you can follow along exactly with me, or you can make your own sketch, because we're going to be pretty much doing the same steps. I'll zoom in on this one. Now, as I talked about earlier, a mech is a robot, or some kind of device. So you can either be very literal about it and have a robot arm, for example, or fingers, or even a body part like a head, or you can be a little bit more visual and play around with it. As you can see, I have an M here, an E, that's also a combination of a kind of a wrench or some kind of tool that's putting on a nut or a bolt on the H. So you get the nice mech feeling here. I'll go ahead and go to the next one. This one, a little bit crazy, but that's how I work. Sometimes I'll take things too far and I'll dial it back. I think sometimes it's better to go way too far so that you can bring it back to a reasonable level as opposed to starting out with something that's extremely bland and boring and really having nowhere to go. I can always trim this down and dial it back. But as you can see, there's a rocket booster here, there's a little cutout here, there's some tools, there's like a map or a diagram of a mech, there's some letters here, an H, but you know, I think it's cool, but if a client were to read this, or if this was a logo on a stationery, it might be too hard to read. So, like I said, play around. Never let yourself be satisfied with your first sketch. Here is the third one I did. This time I did go literal. I literally did a robot's head. So here's the eye, and here's the mouthpiece, here's the neck, and here's the shoulders, and it's inside of some kind of shape. So once again, you want to give your client a wide variety of choices so that they can say, I kind of like that. So somebody might say to me, just give me a basic font under this, or go around like so. So this is just some exploration that I've done on this mech logo. So I highly invite you guys to either create your own or just experiment in your mind as to what you would do. But what we're going to do for this particular lesson, I think, is to go with this one. So we'll refine it a little bit, and we're going to wind up tracing over it with the tools inside of Illustrator. We'll give it a color. We may explore some possibilities with 3D inside of Illustrator, a metallic look, for example. And we might, if we have some time, venture into Photoshop and apply some real metal. So let's go ahead and experiment. And in the next part, we're going to get started. We're going to bring this logo into Illustrator, and we're going to begin tracing it.